Hey, hello. Let's continue to have our discussion on management control system under your performance management. Okay? And our learning objective is avoid making suboptimal decision. What does suboptimal decisions mean? Choosing an alternative which would not, syempre which would not be of best interest for the company. Why? Because the one who made the decision prioritizes his own. Kasi di ba yun yung nature ng uh, decentralization. That is, you delegate decision making. Thus, there will be a challenge when you are looking at goal congruence. Why again a challenge when it comes to goal congruence? Because as the manager making decision, 'di ba? You act as the agent of the firm, but at the same time, you have to protect your self-interest. Yun kasi yung suboptimal eh. You're leaning towards your self-interest. And why is that so? You're going to be rewarded based on the performance that you have performed. 'Di ba? Doon sa unit that you are actually managing and making decisions with. And if you are a selling division, making use of a transfer price, no, using full cost plus markup would definitely not directly benefit the selling division, but it would benefit the buying division, right? But as a whole, with regards to the organization, that would be good for them kasi itong buying division won't incur a cost, no? Ha that would be based on higher than the full costs uh, from the selling division, with the assumption that this would be lower than the market price. Okay, so yun yung suboptimal decision. Okay, you are leaning towards protecting your self-interest. Thus, you may not be able to choose the best options, no, offered to you. Okay, now let's have a sample on that. And since refining the vision, ano ang role na niya? Buying. Okay? And since you are the buying division, you would like to minimize cost. Okay? And the situation in this particular problem is that you were able to look for another independent producer. Most probably, this is a producer which is not currently supplying with the transportation division. And this particular producer can actually accommodate, no, the demand of the refining division that is supplying them 20,000 for 17 per barrel. Remember, 17 versus 23. What do you like? 17, because this is lower cost. Your perspective is about cost. But since it is in Alaska, then it has to be transported by the transportation division. Kasi, i-deliver yung crude oil sa pipeline ni transportation division eh. Dahil siya ang nag-ooperate doon sa Alaska, 'di ba? O yan. Ngayon, ang tanong dyan, may excess capacity ba si transportation division to accommodate yung transaction ni refining division? 'Di ba? Eh kasi siya sa pipeline niya ilalagay at obligadong ibiyahe niya ito papunta kay refining division. O tingnan natin yung sitwasyon. Ang sabi dito, ayan, meron siyang excess capacity. But with the transport, siyempre, siya magbabiyahe, merong cost. If you go back to the problem that we had before, as a sample, merong variable cost at saka fixed cost si transportation division. Now, knowing the nature of the cost, it will just be the variable cost that will be affected. And in this case, it is $2 per barrel. Diba? So, magkano yung magiging total cost O di meron ka ng 17, yung crude oil. Tapos may 2 piso, or rather 2 dolyares. So, currently we have 19, diba? Okay. The question you have to ask yourself would, dapat ba na patulan to? No? Should the company agree with the current option that they have? That is, get another from an independent supplier at 17 pesos. Then it will be coursed through the pipeline of Transportation Division, which in this case can transport it to Refining Division for additional $2, which would cost them 19. Saan nyo i-compare yung 19? You have to compare it again with the market price. We're talking about cost. Anong gusto natin pag cost? Lower. And what is lower? 19. So you like 19 versus 23 sa gastos? Yes. 'Di ba? O bakit paano mas bababa ka ng 80? Kasi bibili ka ng 20,000, 'di ba? O ilan yung 20,000 sa 23? 460. O ilan yung 20,000 sa 17? 380. 'Di ba? O i-deduct nyo. If you have 380, o kaya naman gusto nyo, 23 less 17, ilan ba yon? Compute nyo nga. 6. Multiply mo sa 20. Tumama ba kayo? Diba? So, ilan yan? Kahirap naman, 6 times 2. Hindi natin makuha. So, you have 120 less the variable cost of 2 pesos multiplied by 20. Diba? O, ilan ang resulta? So, you have 80. Kaya kanina sinabi na it will reduce cost by 80,000. Diba? So, pwede namang ang gawin nyo yan, yung net, no, the per barrel cost, then you just multiply by the quantity. Okay, kasi ang independent variable nyo naman dito is the volume, no, the number of barrels. Okay? So, klaro yun? Now, suppose ang gamitin natin, no, yung 112% at full cost. O, tingnan natin ngayon, magkano yung 112% of full cost? Kung ito yung gagamitin ni Transportation Division as transfer price. Kasi kanina, ang ginamit natin kung yung 17 plus 2, yung 19, ito yung ginamit nating transfer price. Okay? Paano kung ang gagamitin natin ay, hindi naman matatanggap ni Refining Division yun kung hindi ibabiyahe ni Transportation. Kaya pwede rin na ang isang option natin, yung 112% of full cost. O magkano magiging halaga niyan? Syempre, meron ng fixed cost kang isasama. So that would be 22. Yung 22, multiply nyo ng 112%. 24.64. Abay, ang market price natin 23 lang. Di ba? Kung ikaw naman si Refining, ba't mo naman gugustuhin to? No. Kaya lang kasi, remember, ano nga yung sabi natin? Ito yung you are preventing yourself with suboptimal decision as affirmed. Eto si Lomas. Eto si Transportation. Eto si Refining. Sabi nga, decentralized. Di pwede talagang gawin ni Transportation na ang piliin niya itong 2464. Kung gugustuhin ni Refining na ipagpatuloy yung, syempre, siya gumawa ng agreement doon kayo, nakipag-usap siya. Diba? Dinala na ngayon doon sa pipeline ni Transportation. Pwedeng ma-hold hostage si Refining kasi sasabihin ni Transportation, yan, yung pag-base sa company policy natin, yan ang halaga. Diba? Yan yung best sample ng suboptimal. Kasi nga, dahil selling si transportation, mas gugustuhin na niya ngayon yung 24 kesa sa 23. Abay, siya pa yung diferensya ng 20,000 na mas tataas sa kita niya. Diba? Ngayon, ano yung implication nito sa panuto ng organization? That is, ayan, you were given the total cost that it will be incurred by refining and it will be earned by transportation. Diba? Ang earnings ni transportation, 492. Ang cost ni refining, 492. Diba? Kasi sila ang magka-transact dyan eh. Okay. Ano implication yan? The firm has to intervene. Okay? That is, you should know what should be the maximum transfer price. Siyempre, magkapatid kayo. Hindi pwedeng ini-exploit nyo yung bawat isa. Diba? So, normally, you would set the market price. And the maximum transfer price will be based on the market price. That's how you do it. Why? Because it's a fair price. That is the price wherein everyone somehow is willing to pay for. So, it won't be unfair to base your maximum transfer price on the market price. And the other thing that you have to look at is what is the minimum? Sabihin, the maximum transfer price is protecting sino? The buying or the selling. Nga. And setting the minimum transfer price, sinong punoprotektahan mo dyan? Titingin nyo. Sino ang mabebenepisyuhan pagka ganito na nag-set ka ng maximum transfer price? Yung gagastos. Hindi siya gagastos ng mas mataas kesa dun sa what is fair price. Sino pinoprotektahan mo sa minimum transfer price? Yung magbebenta. Diba? Kasi the lower the transfer price is, the lower will be the benefit doon sa selling division. Likewise, the higher the maximum transfer price is, well, what would happen to the buying division? Well, it would not benefit him. Diba? Kasi nga, cost nga, gusto mong mababa. Price nga, gusto mong mataas. Diba? Pag ikaw yung buying and selling entity respectively. So, that's what you have to remember. Now, what should be your minimum transfer price? It should be 19. Ma'am, bakit 19? Bakit hindi 17? Ay, because, remember, ano na isabi ko sa inyo? Sino ang pinaproteksyonan nyo sa minimum transfer price? The seller. And in this case, the transportation division, to facilitate this transaction, it would cost him not only 17, but also the variable cost of $2. You have to remember who is being protected by setting the maximum transfer price and by setting the minimum transfer price. So, whose perspective are we looking at the maximum transfer price? The buyer. And the buyer will definitely be only willing to pay for a transfer price at the maximum, which is based on the market price. Kasi ito yung kahit saan siya magpunta, yun talaga ang regular na presyo. Diba? Sabi ko nga, walang difference. Then, you don't have to make any decision. There's no other option. But, yun eh. Diba? Yung market price. And the minimum transfer price, ano ba kasi yung mga option? Sa panuto ni seller. Diba? Pwede naman yung ibinigay sa pipeline niya na nung independent supplier sa Alaska. Pwede naman niyang hindi ibenta yon doon kay refining. He can make decision nga decentralized nga diba? But, nagkataon kasi that it is a different scenario. That from the point of view of the firm, it cost the firm 17. Di ba dati kasi 13 lang? 13 plus 2 plus 5, you have 18. Di ba? Ito yung at full cost. Kasi sabi natin, full cost. Okay? Ma'am, bakit hindi isinama yung fixed cost? Bakit doon sa una kasama ay? Remember class, this is an additional barrel of oil delivered to the pipeline of transportation. Would the fixed cost differ? Well, in total, it won't, but on a per barrel basis, it would reduce. Diba? So, when you talk about costing, alangan namang pag nag-set ka ng markup sa panuto ni buyer, and ang basis niya yung 13, yung 2, 'di ba? At yung 5 piso. Siyempre, ang pagbabasihan mo ng markup ay yung mas mataas na cost. Siguro sa panuto ni selling division, ang dating cost niya 18, no, doon sa isang transaction, at yung sa pangalawang transaction ay gumastos siya ng 19. Definitely, you would base your markup dito sa 19 rather than sa 18. Although dalawang naging supplier ni buying division. Diba? Yung isa na nagbibigay ng 13 pesos at yung isa na nagbibigay ng 17 pesos. Na ang laging relevant sa making decision class, ulitin ko, ano na uli yung condition para maging relevant? Kasi diyan kayo malilito. Future na, magbabago pa. Siyempre, pag gagawa ka ng decision, saan ba magkakaroon ng impact yon? Sa future. But the thing is, the impact should have a change with those who will be affected. Otherwise, if there is no change with those who would be affected, status quo. Wala namang pagbabago eh. Nagkataon lang na mangyayari bukas eh. Maapektuhan ka ba? Hindi. Wala ka na bago eh. No? So, hindi isinama doon sa minimum transfer price yung concern sa fix. Kasi regardless of the situation, you're talking about the same unit. Transportation. Yung total cost niya doesn't differ when it comes to fix. That's why crucial yung alam niyo yung behavior. When making decision in managerial accounting, behavior matters. No, in interpreting. Pero pagka kayo ay magre-record ng transaction, behavior is secondary. No, the driver would be secondary. Your primary concern now will be the cost accumulation, the cost assignment, which would be affected by the cost object. No, kasi nakita ko, nalilito kayo sa cost object at saka sa cost driver. Okay, you have to remember ano ang cost object. Sabi nga, you are the object of my affection. Nandun lahat yung attention mo, nandun lahat yung focus mo. Para siyang isang sisidlan, isang basket. Ganon yung object. Doon mo iipunin lahat. Paano yung driver? Yung driver, sinasabi niya, gaano kabilis yung pag-ipon mo doon sa basket. Yun. Paano, kaya nga tinawag na driver eh. You are looking at the pacing. Pero yung object, you are merely looking at ano yung inilalagay mo dun sa basket. Hindi mo tinitingnan gaano kabilis ka maglagay sa basket. Okay? But you are talking of the same thing, your product. But it's different when you look at object and driver. Kaya binigay ko sa inyong sample kasi yung isang lalagyan, halimbawa basket o bag, yun ang cost object. Yun ang sample nun. Yung bag mismo, kailangan doon mo ipunin lahat yung cost item mo. Tapos yung bilis nung yung pacing mo, yung paglalagay mo doon, yun na yung you have to know yung driver para mas mabilis na mapuno yung lalagyan mo. Okay? So, our next video will be for learning Objective 7. Thank you for listening. And if you have any question, any difficulty, just make sure that you would reflect it in the exit slip for our feedback lecture. Thank you for computing with me. Good day. Keep safe.